All right, I was noticing that a few teams are having a hard time with deciding what value to put in their program up here for the reflected light intensity, and whether to be using a less than, greater than, or an equals the Boolean term. So I thought I would take a minute to kind of go over that a little bit. And it doesn't really make any difference whether you're using it in a weight block, like this example at the top, or whether you're using it in a switch block, like this one out the bottom. You can kind of think of these as similar, right? This one just does one thing here. It'll keep doing this until this happens, and then go on with the rest of your program. Whereas a switch block will let you do two different things depending on what this is. So if it sees it, it'll do this. If it doesn't, it'll go down here. And that's real handy if you put all of this inside of a loop. So to really understand what number we should put in here, we need to know what is our robot sensor reading currently. So you can see I have my robot plugged in here. I'm going to go on over to the report view and take a look at, right now I have the gyro sensor in there. I'm going to arrow over to it has a reflected light intensity. And so you can see right now the number is 18. If I have my robot plugged in at the same time, I can do that over here as well. And so I get that same 18 over here. So that's what it's reading currently. So we need to know on the field that we're going to be running our robot, what is the value. If I were to take a different color, like say slide some white paper underneath my light sensor, oops, then that value bumps way up to, you can see 87 here, right? Same thing there. And so that's what it sees when it's on white. Now, on our field, we have a variety of colors, so you kind of have to find that magic number in the middle. Say that this 18 was the darkest spot that it saw. Let's see if we can have some darkness. There's some black in there. So there's black. And we get it to drop all the way down to 11. Well, we wouldn't want to put 11 in here as our number, so that when it's waiting for it to get less than 11, because sometimes it might not quite get to there. All we need to do is say, well, normally it's driving along and it's on 90, 80, whatever. Even if it's higher than that, if it's in the 29s, for example, and I want it to stop when it gets to that dark line, that's 11, I don't want to put that. I want to put something that's kind of in between those two numbers. Higher than my darkest line, the one that I want it to react to, but lower so it doesn't falsely trigger when it sees some shade that's slightly lighter. So if I had that, I would probably come up here and say, I want this to change when it sees like 15. That way, as it's driving along here and it's seeing 20, etc., it's going to be fine. 27, 27, 19 is going to be fine. It's not going to trigger, but then all of a sudden it drops down to 12. It sees it, and that's not my darkest spot. My darkest spot was at 11, but you have to be in just the right spot for it to see that 11. So when you're choosing what value to put in here, you need to take a look at your color sensor and see exactly what it's reading, either on your robot when you're on the field. That's usually the way you have to do it because you don't have a cable long enough to keep it plugged in. Or if you're testing it right at your computer, you can open up the port view here. Okay? Don't forget, say the table's the other way around and you're wanting it to stop on a white line. Well, then you got to think about reversing this. Just like we did with the gyro sensor, if you got a value that's coming in negative and getting more and more negative, it's actually getting smaller, not bigger, so you have to change how you set up your variables here. Say we wanted this to do the opposite, say the whole field was black, and we wanted it to stop when it's on the white line. Well, we need to change this and say we want it to wait till it's greater than and 15, right? That way it wouldn't do anything until it went above that. And we could even, at that point, since 90 was our white line, we could go way up to like 80 or something like that, so it wouldn't stop on anything until it saw that really bright line, white line. And then it would finally trigger our switch, whether that's this kind of switch or this kind of switch. Remember, this switch is one that makes it, if this is true, it'll do whatever in the top, and if it's false, it'll do whatever in the bottom. All right, so play around with switches a little bit more and your light sensors. Don't forget, many of your sensors are very similar, whether it's the light sensor or whether it's the gyro sensor, the number that's coming in there is what you're going to be taking a look at. And always just plug it in or go to the port view and see what are the numbers it's giving you so you know what numbers to use in your program. All right, hopefully that clarifies things a little bit more and gives you some more information about programming with sensors. We're going to add some more sensors, our ultrasonic sensor here pretty soon, and you'll want to see how that works and how you can use that to keep from running into the edge of the